Hello, everyone. I hope you are doing good. This is Tutor Hira, and it's time for Grade 8 English class. Let's log into aplusstudents.com. Then go to Language Arts section and open Grade 8. The chapter that I have selected today to teach is Figurative Language. We will discuss first two lessons, use personification, and the second one, interrupt the meaning of allusions. Let's begin with lesson number one, use personification. What is personification? Personification is giving human characteristics to non human things. Personification is a writing technique, or you can say a writing tool in which human characteristics are given to non human things. So, this technique of giving human characteristics to non human things or objects is personification. It is a figure of speech that can be used to make writing more interesting or to emphasize a point. Well, if you want to improve your writing, you need to incorporate different figures of speech. This is one of them. So it makes writing more interesting. And if you want to emphasize a certain point in your writing, you can use this figure of speech. Let's read this example. The trees danced in the wind. Well, we know trees are non human things, and dancing is a human characteristic. Humans can dance, trees cannot dance. Well, they can somehow move when the wind blows, but they cannot dance. So the trees danced in the wind. This is an example of personification. Because here the word danced describes the trees as if they were people. Unlike people, however, trees cannot actually dance. Instead, the personification suggests that the trees are moving. But the words which are used, or the technique of personification which is used here, it gives this non-human thing a human characteristic. What is personification? Personification is giving human characteristics to non-human things. Complete the sentence so that it uses personification. Slowly, a renewed sense of dread invaded her mind or came into her mind. Well, invade or came into. You have to complete this sentence so that it uses personification. If you look at the renewed sense of dread, a sense of dread is something that is non human. So if it invades someone's mind, invading means to enter a territory without permission. So a renewed sense of dread, and it's a human characteristic. People invade a place, not a sense of dread. So it's a personification in which human characteristic is given to a non-human thing. The smoke detector, which had long been silent, suddenly awoke with a loud ring or went off with a loud ring. Now you have to use those words, select those words which completes this complete the sentence, and so that the sentence uses personification. So we are going to look for those words which add meaning to this personification. Smoke detector which had long been silent. Smoke detector which had long been silent. Obviously, smoke detector cannot speak. How can it be silent? But it's about its noise or the ring that it produces. Half of the human quality is given here, and that smoke detector, which had long been silent, suddenly awoke. Smoke detector does not awake. It's a human characteristic. Humans awake. So we have to use this word here, suddenly awoke, here with a loud ring. So if we add this word to complete the sentence uses a personification. The smoke detector, which had long been silent, suddenly awoke, means we woke up. So, smoke detector, it's an inanimate object. It doesn't wake up, but a human quality is given to it using the technique of personification. I tried to ignore the fresh blueberry pie, but it was too tempting or calling my name. You have to read the sentence so that the sentence uses personification. Keep in mind which option will make it personification. Select it and let me know in the comment section. Well, if I select option number one, I tried to ignore the fresh blueberry pie, but it was too tempting If I use these words and complete the sentence doesn't use personification because there is no human quality given to any inanimate object. I tried to ignore the fresh blueberry pie, but it was too tempting. Because I felt the need or temptation to eat it. Just this. So it is not. Now the sentence is not using personification, but you have to select the words to complete the sentence. So the sentence uses personification. So this one is incorrect. Okay, if you add the words calling my name, I tried to ignore the blueberry pie, but it was calling my name. It was means the pie was calling my name. So if you say the pie was calling my name, it means you are giving a human characteristic of calling or speaking to a non-human thing. Now the sentence uses personification. So this option is correct. You have to complete the sentence with the answer that the sentence uses personification. The weathered shed in the backyard was broken beyond repair or was slumped over in defeat. Weathered shed means damaged or destroyed shed in the backyard was broken beyond repair or was slumped over in defeat. Select the words which complete the sentence so that it uses personification. Okay, so the weathered shed in the backyard was broken beyond repair. We understand it if you add this sentence, but if you look at these words, slump means to fall over or to fall down heavily. So the weathered shed in the backyard was slumped over in defeat. In defeat gives it to gives it a human quality. Means of the thing, the shed in the backyard was slumped over in defeat. Means it accepted defeat and it fell down in and it accepted defeat. Things do not work this way. These are not the qualities of things. These are human qualities. So when you accept this one, you give a human quality to a non human object. So the second one is the correct answer. It uses personification now. The butterflies flitted from flower to flower, playing hide and seek or collecting nectar. Which one is the correct answer? The complete the sentence so that it uses personification. Well, playing hide and seek, you know, butterflies cannot play hide and seek. It's a human quality. But if it is given to butterflies, personification is used. So the first option, the butterflies flitted from flower to flower, playing hide and seek. The mosquitoes blank us with their ceaseless biting and buzzing, taunted us or irritated us. Which one can add meaning to the personification? Well, taunting is a human characteristic. Irritating, yes, it is also, but taunting is specifically a human quality. The mosquitoes taunted us with their ceaseless biting and buzzing. As much as we might like to freeze time, it marches on or it cannot be stopped. Well, if you select cannot be stopped, as much as we might like to freeze time, it cannot be stopped. These are just simple words. They do not add meaning to the use of personification. But if you choose marches on, uh, military personnel or the people, um, when they walk together in a specific lane with a specific movement, that is called marching. So it's a human quality. As much as we might like to freeze time, it marches on. Means it cannot be stopped, but the words are different. Fine rays of sunlight peered through the tangle of leaves overhead or trickled to the tangle of leaves overhead. Peer. Peer means it's a verb and it means to look closely or carefully at something when you cannot see it clearly. So, which option completes the sentence so that it chooses personification? Peered, fine rays of sunlight peered through the tangle of leaves overhead, or trickled through the tangle of leaves overhead. Well, peer means to look through something so you could see it closely. It's a human quality. So the first option, peered. Fine rays of sunlight peered through the tangle of leaves overhead. Okay. Well, it's enough to give time to this lesson. I hope you understand how to use personification. Let's begin lesson number two. Interpret the meaning of allusions. Well, what is an illusion? Allusion is a brief reference to something or someone well known, often from history or literature. An allusion is a brief reference to something or someone well known, means popular, famous, often from history or literature. You use a word, a phrase, a sentence which give brief reference, which give reference to something or someone well known from literature or history. This technique is called allusion. This is also a writing technique. Okay, if you read this sentence you'll understand. I'd rather better get home before I turn into a pumpkin, Lila remarked. Do you remember? Before I turn into a pumpkin. So here Lila alludes to the fairy tale Cinderella. So these words give a brief reference to Cinderella, to this fairy tale, in which Cinderella must leave the ball before the coach that brought her transforms into a pumpkin. So the allusion shows that Lila must depart early. But instead of writing, I should get home or I should better depart immediately, she uses these words before I turn into a pumpkin. See, she alludes to this fairy tale. She uses a brief reference to something from literature. So, this is a writing technique in which we can give a brief reference to something or someone from history or literature. Let's read the source of the illusion. In the fable, The Fox and the Grapes, I hope you remember, it's Aesop's fable. It's a very famous one. The Fox and the Grapes. A fox tries unsuccessfully to reach a bunch of grapes. Because he cannot reach them and therefore cannot eat them, he tells himself that they must be sour. You know, you might have heard this grapes are sour. So it's an allusion to this. So, what is the meaning of the allusion in the sentence below? This is the sentence. What is the meaning of this allusion? Braden's remark about your new car is clearly a case of sour grapes. Praising something that you admire or criticizing something because you cannot have it. So yes, and if you remember the tale, this fable in which fox tries to reach a bunch of grapes but he cannot eat them, so when he cannot reach them or eat them he tells himself that they must be sour. It means when you cannot have something you criticize it. So if someone remarks this, if Braden's remark about your new car is clearly a case of sour grape, means criticizing something because you cannot have it. This is the meaning. Let's read the source of this allusion. Joseph Heller coined the term catch 22 in his 1961 novel of the same name, means the novel name was also Catch 22. In the novel, if an army pilot wants to avoid dangerous missions, he must be deemed mentally unfit. However, his desire to stay safe proves his sanity, so he can never be excused from a mission. Heller called this sort of predicament or dilemma a catch 22. Means when Let me explain again that if an army pilot wants to avoid dangerous missions, if he wants to do it, he should be called mentally unfit. He should be considered. But however, his desire to stay safe proves his sanity, that he wants to remain safe. It proves that he is sane, so he can never be excused from a mission. So Heller, the writer, called this sort of predicament a dilemma, or this type of predicament a dilemma, catch 22. So, what is the meaning of the allusion in the sentence below? Garrett described the situation he was facing with his boss as a catch 22, an uncomfortable situation, a no win situation. Yes, obviously, it's a no win. Okay, let's read this one. In the Bible, Jesus counsels his followers to resist retaliation. He says that if they are struck on the right cheek, they shouldn't lash out. Instead, they should turn the other cheek toward their attacker. So this he's teaching them to resist retaliation. What is the meaning of the allusion in the sentence below? Much to our shock, Eric chose to turn the other cheek when Anita insulted him in a meeting. Means to respond without aggression or to respond harshly. Okay, so when it means when you don't want to retaliate, when you want to resist retaliate, it means you will not respond with aggression. You will not respond harshly. So to turn the other cheek when Anita insulted him in a meeting, it means he responded without aggression. In the early 19th century, factories were replacing the jobs of craftsmen. Some of these craftsmen banded together to destroy the new machinery. Those who did so were called Luddites. What is the meaning of the allusion in the sentence below? Estelle thinks Mr. Scott is a Luddite because he doesn't own a cell phone. A person opposed to new technology, a person who is hard to reach. Okay, if you read the source of the illusion, you can easily understand that Mr. Scott is a Luddite, means he was a person opposed to a new technology. During the Middle Ages, knights sought to find the Holy Grail, the cup that was supposedly used by Jesus at the Last Supper. What is the meaning of the allusion in the sentence below? An auction house representative described Bob Dylan's handwritten lyrics worth over $1 million as the holy grail of lyrics, something desired but hard to obtain, something worth a large. Well, if you read this allusion, King sought to find the Holy Grail, the cup that was supposedly used by Jesus. So, if something is called the Holy Grail of lyrics, would it be something desired but hard to obtain? In the Bible, a behemoth is a beast of considerable size and strength. What is the meaning of allusion? Leo Tolstoy's War and Peace is a behemoth of a book, something gigantic or something essential. Sorry, I did it. It's something gigantic, something that is considerably bigger in size and strength. Sorry, I clicked the wrong one. George Orwell's novel 1984 uses the term doublethink to describe simultaneously believing two opposite ideas, such as war is peace. What is the meaning of the allusion in this sentence? In response to his position on taxes, some journalists accused the candidate of engaging in doublethink, a carefully considered belief or contradictory belief. Well, something doublethink is described as something as simultaneously means at the same time believing two opposite ideas. So it is a contradictory belief. In one of Aesop's fables, four animals go on a hunt assuming that they will split their prize equally. But the lion, the most powerful animal, takes more than the other members of the group. What is the meaning of the illusion in the sentence? My sister takes the lion's share of the space in our closet, an equal amount or the largest portion. As it is very well explained in the source of the illusion, that the lion's share is larger portion, not the equal amount. In the Bible, Daniel translates mysterious writing that appears on a wall, and doing so, he predicts the death of a king. What is the meaning of the illusion in the sentence below? Investors should have seen the writing on the wall. It is a sign with important technical information, a clear indication of how something will turn out. Which one is it? Well, it's a clear indication. See, writing appeared on the wall, and he predicts the death of a king. Means it was an indication how this king will die. So, if investors should have seen the writing on the wall, means it's a clear indication of how something turn out. In Greek mythology, King Midas is granted his wish that everything he touches turn to gold. Okay, let's read this sentence and find the meaning of illusion. When it comes to starting new businesses, Vicky seems to have a Midas touch. Fortunate, confident. Well, if something turns to gold when you touch it, it means you have a Midas touch. The novella A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens tells the story of the penny pinching and bitter Ebenezer Scrooge, who values money more than people. So, what is the meaning of the illusion? Mr. Greer has a reputation as a Scrooge, as our club has stopped asking him for donations. A person without much money, a person who isn't generous. So, yes, if this is the story of penny pinching and bitter Scrooge who values money more than people, so Mr. Greer has a reputation as a Scrooge. So it means a person who isn't generous. Okay, as students, I hope you understand how to interpret the meaning of illusions. With this, the class ends. It's time. I'll see you again next time.